Hey y'all, Josh here today, aka the world's greatest dad, coming at you with a step-by-step tutorial showing you how to take your Chapin 8622B 150-pound tow and pull behind spreader from this right here to that right there. So with that being said, let's get it. So we got everything laid out, and one thing I really appreciate is the fact that the mechanics of this spreader are already put together along with our hopper box. So we really just need to focus on putting on these tires, this rear baffle, of course our legs that are going to attach to our four-wheeler or lawnmower, and then we've got our little auger that will go in our hopper box right there. And to do that, we're going to need an instruction book and of course all the nuts and bolts that go with it. But check this out too. Chapin even is hooking you up with a nice little rain cover to go on this thing if you're spreading in the rain. And before I start any installation, I always like to take a nice close look at these instructions just to see if they make sense, find out what I'm actually working with. As you can see, this lays it out in a nice step-by-step process, providing you pictures and written instructions as well. And here are the tools we're going to need for our install today, including a hammer, an 8 and 10 millimeter socket with some crescents to match, a pair of pliers, and a Phillips screwdriver. So for step one, we're going to go ahead and fasten our axle and our gearbox together here. And basically that takes this little piece right here, which is a little shoulder screw. Looks just like that. All we're going to do is line these holes up here, stick this in from the top, put this locking nut on the bottom, and then we're going to use our 8 millimeter socket to get this thing all tightened up. And for step two, we're going to go ahead and attach our trailer frame here to this hitch bracket. And basically all we're doing is sandwiching these two frame bars here with our two-piece red hitch here. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and use 4 of these nuts and bolts right there. Now during this step, Chapin also has you put in your hitch pin and cotter pin. Cool thing about this, they actually hook you up with 2 of these in case you lose one of those, which I'm notorious for. And basically that's going to go right there, and then of course your cotter pin right below it. And that's what's going to keep us connected when we're pulling this thing on our four-wheeler. Now step 3 has multiple steps, but basically what we're doing is we are removing a couple of nuts and bolts that are already attached here. And we're doing that so we can get this hitch bracket rotated out. As you can see right now, as is, it can't rotate out. So we're going to take those off, rotate this out, and then we're going to also put on our rear baffle as well. Now we're going to go ahead and rotate these hitch brackets out, and you'll see there's a hole right here. You're going to match that up with the existing hole where we just took our nut and bolt out, and now we're going to put that thing back in. And we'll go ahead and tighten them back up. And for the last part of step 3, we're going to go ahead and take our rear baffle and attach it right here. And to do that, we're just going to need 2 more of these nuts and bolts. Now we're on to step 4, which is our wheel assembly. So the first thing we want to do is turn this thing over so our baffle is laying down. All right, so these brackets should be sitting down that way. And we're going to attach our right wheel first, okay? One thing before we put those on, man, I got to say, dude, these things are beefy, heavy duty. Love it. All right, now to attach our right wheel, basically, we're going to use one of these nuts and bolts. All right, so each wheel kind of attaches different, so this is an important step. Basically, we're going to slide this in here, and these holes are going to match up on the inside of the wheel, and then we're simply going to slide this down there, attach the nut, and we're ready to move on to the next one. Now our left wheel is going to go on just a little bit different, as all we're going to do is slide this wheel on. Then we're going to dig into our little bag of tricks right here. We're going to pull out our washer and our cotter pin. So next time we're going to put our washer, and then we're going to pop through our cotter pin, and we'll spread that thing out so the wheel can't fall off. To do that, we're just going to use our pliers. And that is what our wheel assembly looks like when done. Again, right wheel using that nut and bolt, left wheel using this washer and cotter pin. All right, we're on step 5, and now we're going to attach our hitch frame to our bracket frame. And to do this, basically, you'll see we have 2 holes right here, 2 holes on the bracket frame, and we got to get those things to match up. And when we do, we're going to use our last 4 of those nuts and bolts to attach everything. Now we're just going to go ahead and tighten all these up using our crescent and 10mm socket, and we're going to be good to go. And when you're done with this step, this is exactly how this should look. All 4 of those connected correctly. And we're ready to move on. Well, kids, we're almost done and we're on the home stretch, and the last thing we need to do is attach our auger to our hopper right here. Now Chapin's going to hook you up with 2 different options. You've got this smaller plastic auger right here, which is going to use that auger nut for installation, or they've got this larger metal auger as well. Now whichever one you use, make sure you keep that other one, because each one of these augers is going to work better depending on what you're spreading. So we're going to go ahead and install our plastic auger right there and use this auger nut. And to do that, once again, we're going to need our 10mm socket. And that's what it should look like when our auger is installed. And as you see, when you move the wheels, your auger starts rotating. And when you're all finished up, that is what your finished product looks like. I gotta say, man, pretty sweet looking piece of machinery. Love the fact that those tires are just so heavy duty. A really big hopper. I'm excited to jump on the 4-wheeler and put this thing to use. So there you go, kids. There's your full tutorial on how to unbox and put together your Chapin 8622B 150-pound tow and pull behind spreader. Now this installation was fairly easy, and the instructions were super easy to follow. It took me about 45 minutes to an hour, and that was with me filming as well. So it shouldn't take you too terribly long as you can follow these 6 steps. Now, a couple other things I want to point out is, number 1, make sure you don't lose your additional auger, and don't lose your instruction book either, because it's got warranty information as well as how to order replacement parts if you have any issues with this thing in the future. So I hope this video helped you out, and we'll see you next time.